Hello and welcome to my adaptation of this traditional French recipe for cooking mussels, moules marinere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and put those into the pan. This is a very unusual recipe because there's no salt whatsoever. All the salt will come from the mussels themselves, as you probably guessed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the onion and the garlic. So I've got one onion and I've simply sliced it thin into tiny pieces, and here's some garlic here, and I just can't help myself. I always do my garlic rough cut. It's just my way. So in goes the onion and the garlic. Put it on the heat to do its own thing. So that's 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on the pan. There we are. Put the lid on the pan. Let that cook for a few minutes. It recommends 5. I've got some parsley I've already prepared. I'm just going to do the thyme. So this is fresh thyme. You don't have fresh thyme, use the thyme you've got, but this is lucky I happen to have this. It's great when you find a shop that sells fresh herbs. So I'm just pulling off the bits. And with these amounts, it's really up to you. But I want to be generous with the herbs today. Right, so I've got a lot of time. The last thing will go in will be the parsley, and that's when it's completely finished cooking. Right, so what's it saying now? Right, done all that. Yes, yes. So the idea just cooks the onions and the garlic until they're soft. And if you want the ballpark figure, they're giving the ballpark figure of around about 5 minutes to do that. Coming on very well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the wine. So traditionally people use white wine, and red wine is full of resveratrol. It's such a good medicine for the immune system. So I've got a Bordeaux here, so I'm going to put 150 millilitres of this red wine in. And now I've done that, what I do is I wait for the alcohol to boil. So what's happening is the alcohol will be burnt off. It's the redness, the resveratrol in the red wine that I'll be keeping. And because I'm on a ray burn, I'll have to be very patient because it might not take the length of time I'd like it to. If you're using gas or electricity, you can just whack it up to a higher temperature. I'll do is I'll move us over here, focusing on the pan. There we are. It's boiling, so it's time for me to whack in the thyme and the mussels. And to put the lid on. So how am I doing? I've covered it, right, so we're going to let them steam for 3 to 4 minutes. And we'll know they're ready, because what will actually have happened is that the shells will have opened. So I'm just going to adjust this so I can see the time. That's a bit better, right? Right, so I'm just going to have to take a little bit of time that this happen. And when it has, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding, well, I don't have any cream. That's what you'd normally use. I don't have any cream, so I'm going to be adding some oat milk, because it's what I've got. And I'm going to be adding, let's see how much of that. It says 150 millilitres of cream. Well, I'm just going to use 75 millilitres of the oat milk, because that's what I feel like using. So I'm now allowing the mussels to steam. So I had this dish first time in my life in a French restaurant and was blown away by it, because I thought, good grief, this is so simple, yet it's so extraordinary. I could tell the effect it's having on my body. Even in those days, I had a very highly heightened sense of awareness about the effect of food on my body, and I just knew it was off the charts in terms of what was going on for me. So the traditional thing this is served with is what they call karasi bread. So I've got one of those I'm going to have with it. It'll be totally traditional. So the way I will know this is ready is when I lift up the lid and I discover the shells have opened. So that gives me an opportunity to prepare. I'm just going to get the parsley off the cutting board and put it into a little bowl. So the thing about the parsley is it's got so many medicinal properties, including vitamin C, plus a whole host more, which is why chefs have been using parsley like forever. So we don't cook it, because if we were to do so, that would damage some of the ingredients, whereas actually the thyme is benefited from having a small amount of cooking. Right, so chopsticks at the ready. Let's see what it's looking like. Take the lid off, move them around, see what's going on. Right, some of them are opening and the rest of them are not open yet, so I need to give it more time. Clock time, not herb time. And again, if you've got gas or electricity, you could whack it up at this point and speed the thing up, but that's not my option. It's going to take its own time today, that's how it is. this just gives me another opportunity to tune into my gratitude for these life forms, these plants, and these sea creatures providing food that I might live. And in fact, this is what we become aware of all the time. It's all about gratitude. We are grateful in so many ways for the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the water that we drink. In fact, that's a really good hint, because I'm going to be eating soon. It would be appropriate to have a little bit of water now, because once I start eating, I don't drink water for at least an hour after I finish the food. It's an incredibly important detail, this. If we drink water with our meals, and if we drink water after a meal, what we're doing is we're washing away the digestive enzymes which are in our digestive system, in our gut, to digest the food. Such a simple little thing, because I'm always talking about drinking water. I'm not talking about not drinking water. The best time in your day not to drink water is when you're having your meal and for the first hour afterwards. If you can wait longer than an hour, so be it, but that's what I do, is my rule of thumb. And you'll find your digestion will work so much better simply by not drinking water during or after a meal. So gratitude for the water, gratitude for the fire spirit that's cooking my food. And what's the story this time? Now, the one on the top has opened up completely. Yeah, there are more openings, opening. Yeah, they're about there, so in fact, one of the mussels has just fallen out of its shell. If you see a mussel falling out of its shell when you're having a little look, you know you're there. So I'm going to add the oat milk. I haven't got any cream. I'm going to add the parsley, and I'm going to stir it all in like this. Yeah, you can literally see the mussels coming out of their shells now. So that is it. Whoop. Back in the pan. So it says to cook for 1 more minute when you've added those last 2 items. No, it doesn't actually. I correct myself. It says when you've scattered with the parsley and you've added the cream or equivalent. Oh, yeah, add the cream and cook for a minute. Right, okay. Did that slightly wrong, folks? Did that slightly wrong? Added the cream, give it 1 minute, then I should have added the parsley right at the end. So I'll compromise it. It's had enough time now. So I'm going to take it off the stove. And I'm going to say, time for breakfast. All the love to you.